Hey everybody, welcome to Introductory Statistics. We're going to talk about randomized simulation today to answer statistical questions. And here is our first question. We are going to try and detect jury bias. So if a jury in a community with 33% minorities has only one minority on the jury, then is there some evidence of some sort of discrimination? Is something funny happening here? Is that particular jury with only one member different in some way? Is it statistically so far away from what we would expect that there might be a bias? So let's pull some of the information out of here. The expected percent is 33%. So in other words, if we were to draw a jury at random, we would expect a third of our jury to be minorities because the jury is supposed to be a representative sample of the population. Now, what we actually found was 1 person in 12 was a minority, and that's only 8.3%. So to introduce a little bit of language, the expected percent is called the Null Hypothesis. The sample size was 12 because we drew 12 people in our sample, and the count was only 1 because we only drew one minority, and that was the thing that we were interested in. So the tool that we're going to use is the StatKey randomization for proportions. So I want you to go to the StatKey after this video. I'll give you a link and work through this exact same process. But notice that we have a few things that are very similar to what we just had. The null hypothesis. If I click here, I can type in the null hypothesis for my problem. I think that 33.3%, or a third of our population, or of our jury, should be minority. So I'm going to say that my null hypothesis is 33%. Then I'm going to press Edit Data right here. I had one minority member in my jury, and my sample size was 12, because there's 12 people in a jury. And I'm going to press OK. Now what I do to see if our particular jury was statistically different than what we would expect is we generate random samples. So I'm going to generate one random sample. This particular dot right here was 25%. That means I randomly selected a jury where the population had a 33% minority, and I randomly got 25% in my jury. Let's pick another one. This one ended up having 33%, or a third. Pick another one. This one had 42%. Let's pick 10 more. Let's pick 100 more. Let's pick 1,000 more. Maybe 1,000 more than that. Now I've selected 2,113 random juries. Press 1,000 more now that I've got 3,000. I can do many, many of these. And I can see that at random, this is what our juries will look like. Some of them will have only a 10% minority. Some will have a 0%. Some will be around 18. Some will be around 25. Most will be around 33. And now I can test my jury, my 1 in 12. That's this one over here. Well, let's see. 1 in 12 is 8%. That's the left side of my histogram here. And it looks like only 2.5% of the randomly selected juries have this few of minorities. That's really, really rare. If I generate 1,000 more samples, now it's 5%. That's still right around 5%. I've generated now over 10,000 different juries, and around 5% of my juries have my sort of jury, the 8% or fewer. That means my jury's pretty darn rare, and maybe I need to investigate this jury process. So in the next parts of this lesson, you're going to investigate very similar problems to this, and I wish you the best of luck.